Joining me now is Stephen Nelson. He's the D.C. reporter, White House reporter for the New York Post. He's an old friend of mine. Stephen, came to my attention. You reached out to me, asked me to sign a letter, which I was happy to do. Let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen. So 68 White House journalists asked the White House press secretary to end the mysterious pre-screening of reporters let into President Biden's events. You're calling it antithetical to the concept of a free press. So first of all, Stephen, I spent a tremendous amount of time on the show trying to explain to people what it's like in the basement and in the room, just because they don't really understand press access, how much these things impact, how you can actually speak to the president. You're there covering the Biden administration. What is this mysterious practice of pre-screening?
Sure. So, Saagar, you know better than most what this is, because this was not a thing during the Trump administration or prior administrations. So for the viewers at home, this is on the one hand a very insidery DC complaint, but it's also a very significant one because it impacts how the press covers the president and what the president is asked. And what the Biden administration has figured out how to do is essentially curate the group of reporters who are asking the president questions. So now viewers at home, they see President Biden usually take questions a couple times a day. They see a group of reporters shouting them. They don't think,
they're like, who are those people? I don't know how they get there.
I assume, figure that it is representative of the press corps, but it is not. The Biden administration has come up with this new strategy of requiring reporters to RSVP for events. So when President Trump was there was the East Room, which is 3,000 square feet.
It's a huge room, so people know. Huge. Like you can fit hundreds and hundreds of people in there.
Biggest room in the White House, absolutely enormous. So last June, when coronavirus rates started going down because everyone got vaccinated, the press briefing room, which is a very small room, it's basically the size of a double-wide trailer. It returned to full capacity. 49 seated reporters could be there. Everyone stood up. The East Room never went back to full capacity. And what the White House did is they required reporters like you and I to RSVP, and then through some opaque process decided who got to go in. Now, over time, of course, there are clear patterns.
Who are the people who got to go in, Stephen?
Well, you know, I don't want to...
don't name names. Give us the outlets.
Well, you know, I certainly don't want to like embarrass anyone, because what's really great about this letter you just mentioned is that we were very unanimous in our pushback. Everyone's represented in there. The people who do get into these events signed on to the letter. Caitlin Collins and Ed O'Keefe, who are TV front row reporters, they signed on, championed our cause. So it's been a very, I guess people of all different stripes and outlet sizes signed on to this letter, because we see it as a very worrying precedent. If Biden can do this, so could the next administration. And who's banned today may be different than who's banned tomorrow.
You're absolutely right. And I think people should know. I mean, we were able, you know, anyone could RSVP to these events. You could be a blogger for some random Christian website, which, as you and I know, often did show up at the White House. And it was, hey, that's okay. You can try if the president or whomever is going to call on you. I mean, what has this had an impact on your career specifically? Or not even career, your ability to ask questions. So people know Stephen is a bit of a bomb thrower. He likes to ask critical questions. I think that's great. He's often critical, not critical, but you ask questions which you don't necessarily see often in the press corps, something I also try to do in my tenure there. I mean, what impact has that had on you and your ability to do your job?
Sure. So I'm the White House reporter for the New York Post, which is the fourth largest newspaper by circulation in the country. And what this mysterious pre-screening process, or blacklisting as some people would call it, is it meant that from November until the end of June, I did not get into a single event through this supposedly
So that's
random
7
process.
months.
So seven months I was not in the room in the East Room when the president was taking questions. And what that does is it means that the fourth largest newspaper in the country and the various issues that we care about were not as well represented as they could have been. So it significantly shapes press coverage of the president.
Yeah, and I mean, so let's think also about the impact that that has. I mean, in our experience, in the past also, why do different questions matter for the president? Like, what does that mean for the White House, their ability to prepare and also shape narratives on events and others? Like, why is that a bad precedent to set for the future?
You know, it's a horrible precedent to set, because having a diverse press corps, it basically reflects America. It reflects America in the world, and if you have a diverse press corps, there are diverse questions, and the different demographics and different groups in America are well represented before the president. And, you know, I'll answer that by pointing to a question that Brian Karem, who wrote this letter, asked the former president. Now, during President Trump's coronavirus briefings, people asked all sorts of questions, but Brian asked around the election, and he's also someone known for sometimes throwing curveballs.
Yes, he's a true bomb thrower.
I mean, I think he might come at it a little bit of a different direction, but he asked President Trump around the election, President Trump, are you going to commit to a peaceful transition of power? And President Trump, his answer, I think,
didn't say yes outright.
He didn't say yes outright. Yeah. So historically, that's of significant interest, especially considering what happened in January 6th.
Definitely.
So I mean, you could argue from both sides of the political spectrum that it's good to have a diverse press corps.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to reiterate. Like, I was on the rope line a bunch of times. Trump was there. You were there too, Stephen. And you kind of scramble. It's a kind of a chaotic situation, but it's important because you get at least a chance in order to shout a question at Trump. Who knows what he's going to answer? And we got all kinds of interesting stuff out of him. Biden, I mean, look, whenever they let him ask questions, sometimes he takes them, and he'll take ones from whomever who happens to be in front of him, and that is the choke point. So, okay, it's July 25th now. It's been 25 days since the letter was sent. Has there been any action on the part of the White House?
So, we tried to have discussions with the White House, and the interesting thing about this is that
what's their pushback? I mean, anything that you could say here publicly.
So the White House Correspondents Association, which wants this practice to be done away with, they understand the horrible precedent it sets.
Good.
They've been trying from June of last year until now to get an explanation of how this pre-screening works. It's been more than 12 months. They haven't been successful. We don't know. We're a building full of reporters. None of us have figured out who the chief censorship officer is. None of us have figured this out. There have been really amusing ways that they've explained it.
Yeah.
One person told me that they were told by one of the senior press staff that they had a random number generator that figured out who got to go in. Now, of course, I'm not a statistics person, but it's been 7 months of events for me.
Interesting. Yeah, there's not that many, actually, of people who are probably applying. I mean, there's at least less than, let's say less than 100? Or probably
there's a lot less interest. And during the Trump administration, we all fit in the East Room, no problem.
No, that's true. That's true. And we had all kinds of people from all over the world who were coming to these events, and we never had an issue. There was a standing room in the back. They could put out as many seats as possible. They could seat you on the side if they want to. It's very simple. I mean, we've both seen events there. Hundreds and hundreds of people were packed in to the room. They're experts at it. There's a whole logistics staff that's capable of this.
But in terms of response, Brian, who's the letter author, he asked Karine Jean-Pierre, the press secretary, about this at the briefing. She says it's a priority. Coronavirus is getting better. We're going to work on it. That's as best as we've gotten. And, I actually did get into an event, and so did Brian after 7 months of being blacklisted.
Yeah.
So it seems that someone in the White House heard, but of course the demand is that this be done away with altogether.
Right.
Not that it be, lightened up and made a little more.
Yeah, it shouldn't be on an individual basis. You guys helped organize the letter. We're very publicly support Glenn Greenwald, many others putting this out there, but it shouldn't take having to cause a storm to even have this. So anyway, I'm very against the practice. I was happy to sign the letter. I wanted to make sure that people could hear as much about it, because I think it's these little things like this that actually impact coverage and the way folks at home can experience it in a way that they don't even know. So thank you very much for joining us, Stephen. We really appreciate it. And thank you all for watching. It's been great to be back, and we will see you all on Tuesday.
Cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.